Hey, welcome to The Link. The Link is a podcast created to build community through conversation. We focus on the stories of creatives, business owners, community leaders, and all-around interesting people from the community of Lincoln, Nebraska. We welcome you to come learn about your neighbors as we have a conversation with them.
All right.
Hello.
Welcome to the Link Podcast.
My name is Andy Morrison.
I'm Stephen Carlson.
And today we've got on Josh and Amera Nix.
Yeah, they talk about short-term rentals in Lincoln, Nebraska. They talk about how they got into real estate.
In there?
Yeah, they got some long-term rentals. They have some really cool ideas of future things that they want to do. And it's just cool to be able to tell a story of just a couple trying to do cool things in Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one more kind of unique story that we like to tell.
Yeah, and it was really cool seeing you guys connect, considering that you are an Airbnb host as well, and how you guys can kind of bounce off each other. There's a cool dynamic to kind of experience. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy listening.
All right, welcome to the Link Podcast. I'm Stephen Carlson.
And I'm Andy Morrison.
And today we are with
Josh Nix.
Amera Nix.
And today we're kind of talking about just the overall story of how you got involved in real estate and just kind of how you built a little real estate empire here in Lincoln. And yeah, I think that's mostly what we'll get into. We'll get into Airbnb too and how Lincoln is changing the rules of how they want Airbnbs to go and kind of dig into that a little bit.
I want to hear your guys' thoughts on them.
Yeah.
Some honest thoughts here.
And
maybe we can be the skew and the push to keep them.
And what also your two roles are in that business as well. I think it'd be super interesting. So, Josh, if you want to start, just
Sounds
give me
good.
kind of a brief overview of what made you want to get into real estate and where that kind of journey started.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good, yeah. So I have a different beginning than most real estate investors. I actually got into it on accident. It all started with my father proposing this idea that we're going to buy this house, fix it up together, basically be partners on it, and we were going to split the rents. He was going to bring all the money, and I was going to do all the work. And at 23, I would say, that's when I bought my first rental. I didn't really know what I was doing with my life, so I felt like a great idea. I was like, what do I have to lose, right?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, so we proceeded, and about halfway through the project, my dad came to me and was like, I don't really want to be a part of this. That's something I'm going to hand off to you. So he proceeded to finance it to me like a traditional bank would with an interest rate and all that, and then I just got to keep all the rent minus what I owed him. So that's how I got my first rental. I never really planned on it at all. It was just kind of something that just happened, and I went with it. And then kind of from there, it happened again. My father, the second house, he brought me another deal. I was like, hey, we'll do the same deal on this one. I'll give you the money to kind of get started, and then it'll be all yours, and you can just finish it out. So
did you guys, on those two first properties, did you do everything yourself then too? Or did you have to find contractors, or kind of how did that go?
Yeah, so luckily my dad knew a guy, another landlord in town here that had many rentals, so he had some experience and helped us out on the contractor stuff when we needed them. But I mainly did everything I possibly could, and things that I wasn't even good at. I would just do it to learn. I just thought I had to do it, honestly. I was like, because I couldn't afford to pay these crazy prices to hire it out. So
yeah. What do you think what was the biggest thing you learned from that first deal, I guess?
Oh man, that's a good question. There's so many different things from real estate, the construction side of it. There's so many things I learned from the business side of it. There's so many things I learned. Really looking back, just a lot of hard work and dedication, really, because that process took me a year. And then I'll fast forward. Today we flip houses and they don't take nearly as long, and things are a lot more easier. So I learned a lot just from the process of it all, just by actually getting in there and doing it all myself. So that really helped me. in my business now, but
And are you from Lincoln?
yeah, I'm from Lincoln.
Okay, because I couldn't remember, because I knew your parents have lived different places.
So I was born in Chicago,
Okay.
moved to England, lived there for a short time. I don't remember that. And then we moved to Lincoln when I was like 3.
Okay.
So I just say I'm from here
Yeah,
because that's all I know. But
for sure. Yeah, it's like my wife was born in Minnesota, but she's never lived in Minnesota.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep.
Cool. So you jumped to that second deal, and then what made you? Because were you doing a job in between there, or kind of how did it like become full time? This is.
Yeah. So
real
I was
estate?
when I got in that first rental, I started a handyman business as well. So I was doing handyman work and working on my rentals on like nights and weekends and on, after hours and stuff like that. So I was just hustling all day long trying to get paid to do work for people and then go work on my own stuff at night. And it was kind of nice because I had, a truck full of tools. So
Yep.
I could kind of do it pretty easily.
Already
What
set
really
up for
sucks is whenever you forget your tools at the rental house and you have to go do a job and you have to go drive across town just for a tape measure.
I've been there.
Yeah, or a caulking gun,
Yep.
or anything.
Everybody always asks me, it's like, why do you have like 5 tape measures? It's like, just in case I lose 4.
Exactly.
And I'll buy the cheap ones, and then I'll have like the nice one in my tool pouch. Like I'll buy the expensive one, put it in my tool pouch, and then I'll just have like random $5 ones from Menards just everywhere.
Yeah.
So I never forget them.
Yep.
Where did it come from, like as far as there to like, all right, I want to jump in full time? Was there like a vision part to it, or did you just kind of like, I'll just buy another one and buy another one and buy another one? Or
Yeah, so for probably 6 years, I was kind of on the slow grind of I would literally do a house every year. It would take me a year to complete a house. And just slowly building up the handyman business. That was paying the bills. If you don't know, real estate is a very slow game. You don't get rich overnight in real estate, especially long-term rentals. But it's a good wealth generator. So I saw the bigger vision there with that, But yeah, so I had to do both for a long time until I could really kind of get out from underneath doing both of it. And that's kind of when Amera steps into the picture a little bit.
yeah,
So,
give us how does that configure?
well, as you may or may not know, is whenever you're seeing someone or have a significant other, your time gets very limited because you want to spend it with them. And I wanted to spend every waking moment with her. And I remember this house specifically. I think that one took me a year and a half. And I think it was because I was dating her at the time.
I'll take the blame.
I probably took 3 or 4 months off just to spend with her, and so that's kind of where things started shifting because I was like, okay, there's got to be a better way. I'm like working, nonstop all the time, which was fine when I was single and didn't have any responsibilities and roommates, so I could live pretty cheap. But yeah, she kind of put things in perspective for me and what was, meaningful and whatnot and where I wanted to spend my time. So that's kind of whenever, yeah.
And when was that?
That was in
2013.
2013, yeah. The summer of 2013.
And what year did you start working on these rentals, like to begin with?
I started in 2010.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's when I bought my first one. So I guess I was still grinding whenever I was there because I grinded from 2010 to 2016 really doing it. But it slowly transitioned, I guess, to when I was meeting her that, my time was being more limited. Because actually the 4th, 5th, and 6th property that I bought over those 6 years were actually ones that needed less rehab. One, it didn't even need anything. I bought it basically turnkey, where the tenant was already in the property and I didn't have to fix it up or anything. So I was kind of getting a little bit smarter with my time. But yeah.
What kind of what made the transition from long-term to like flips or Airbnb type stuff? Is that kind of where she came into the picture, or were you like, that would always be kind of cool? Or because 2013 Airbnb wasn't really even a thing.
Yeah, so man, that's a loaded question. There's a lot of story in that question right
Let's
there.
unpack it. Let's go for it.
All right, well, I'll just kind of
Start somewhere. Start where it's comfy.
Let's see here. So I actually honestly never thought of flipping houses I don't know why. It just didn't seem appealing to me. I just thought buy and hold rentals, this is the way to go. And then, as you guys know, the housing market keeps going up, and so I would find these properties, and they wouldn't work rental wise for me to keep them as rentals, as long-term rentals. Like, they were just, the investment was too high for the amount of rent that I could get in, so therefore I'd be losing money every month. But it would lend themselves to flipping them to make a profit, So that's why I started flipping. I mean, if I could keep every single property that I buy, I would to this day, but I just can't do it financially. So that's why we flip houses now. Babe, I'm gonna let you talk about our short-term rental experience that we had and kind of how that happened.
Okay. So it was fall of 2018, and Josh has a lot of times where he comes to me with these like crazy ideas, and I'm like, okay, what now? And he's like, Airbnb. And I was like, Josh, no one is gonna want to come to Lincoln to stay in an Airbnb. And he's like, well, we'll just try it, or we can look around. We'll keep our eyes open. And so we found this house, and it was such a cute little house. However, it was way more than what we should ideally spend for an Airbnb. And so
for like the purchase price of it.
For the purchase price, yeah. And so I was like, Josh, I don't really think so. So then he makes an offer on the house anyways, and we get it.
Nice.
And yeah, typical Josh move. He's definitely lives by like ask for forgiveness, not permission. So anyways, to this day, though, it was a smart decision because it opened the door for our other Airbnbs, and it happens to be our most popular one. So that was in the fall of 2018, like I said. And then come February, So
this is not a long time in between.
No, this is
We purchased
months.
this one in September.
Yeah.
And we were already looking for the next opportunity January of that next year.
Did the house need any work? Or?
So that house didn't really need any work. The only thing that we did to that house was paint the purple walls and purple ceiling. So
Yes.
for that house,
Is that the Barney house? Is that what you nicknamed it?
It
No.
isn't, but we should have. But we took the Barney-ness out of it. So for that house, we didn't do anything cosmetically except for the paint, and then we moved all of our old furniture into that house, which we're still like working on replenishing. But that house was good to go, and so we kind of saw the success in it and saw the fun in it, because being a stay-at-home mom, it kind of gives me something to do.
For sure.
So February comes around, and Josh was looking at this empty lot for container home, which is a whole nother story. But next door to it was these two really horribly ran down houses, and I'm like, these are great. We should make a community for them with Airbnbs. If families want to come and stay, but not in the same like room, it'd be great. And then so we happened to look at them, and they were even worse than I could have imagined. So Josh buys them, and
Did you make an offer without her asking her?
No, that deal was a little bit different deal. So that one, someone was actually selling those.
Oh, okay.
But
yes.
no, I didn't make an offer. She was the one kind of pushing for it, actually.
No, I was pushing for it until I saw the inside, and then I was like, no, never mind. Maybe this is a bad idea, because I love the theory of it, but when I saw the reality of it, I was scared. But anyways, he goes to buy them, and at first that was a Nebraska Home Investors deal. Now it's Josh and Amera deal, but during that process, he gave me like full creative reign to like design everything from pretty much the studs. So that has been really fun to do.
So I've been through a couple remodels with giving the reins over on design. Was it like reins over on design and budget, or was it like, here's your budget, don't spend?
No, to be completely honest, budget was out the window. So
okay.
I mean,
you just went for
pretty.
Within, stayed within reason.
Yeah,
I think.
she's budget minded, I'll say, when she
Yeah.
comes to things like that, so she knows. But
Furnishings were not so much budget minded.
yeah, probably not. Renovation was fine. I mean, a lot of things. I mean, paint is paint. Doesn't matter what
For
color
sure.
it is. You know,
Yeah.
it still costs the same amount. And
Yeah.
flooring is pretty much flooring. No, I'll take that back. I mean, we did not do real hardwood floors in this property. I'll say that. We did more of a laminate,
Yeah.
man-made product that's cheaper. But yeah, so she had some free reign to do whatever.
I just asked that because I know if I gave my wife free reign, it would be an amazing place. But I'd be like, holy cow,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to cost a lot. Just
Yeah.
because it's easy. I mean, it's easy to jump on Pinterest and pick like the nicest thing.
Yeah.
And you don't realize it's a $50,000 bathroom
Yeah.
and you're putting it into a $80,000 house.
Oh yeah.
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 But
Yeah.
Babe, what I want you to tell them about is why we even came up with this whole how did I even get this Airbnb idea started in the beginning, in the first place?
Oh, well, like the community.
Just our whole experience in Panama.
Okay, so we went to Panama a few years back, and they had a community. It was called the Purple House, and there was an Orange House, and they were, in a over the water type of bungalow type thing, but they all had a commons area, and it really. When you're there, you think of like, oh, our kids would love to come here. Our family would love to come here. It'd be nice. Mom and dad could stay in this duplex. We could stay here. Your parents could stay in the Orange House. Like, it just like brought about an idea. So when I saw those two houses that are now the Haymarket Hideaways, now I kind of thought about that and people coming to visit Lincoln and kind of providing a place like that for them to stay. And so that was definitely like the major inspiration behind it.
Yeah, that was our first time staying in an Airbnb in Panama. What year was that?
I think 2017.
Okay. Yeah, so that's kind of when the idea happened. And then, yeah, the end of 2018 is when we actually purchased our first one.
So that's the first time you'd stayed in?
Yeah.
Airbnb?
Yeah.
We've heard of it and knew about it, but we just
Yeah.
stayed in hotels and resorts every time we traveled.
What about that experience made you go, other than those kind of two properties, what about that experience made you go like, we should do this ourselves? Because like, I think about it and I'm like, if I have an Airbnb, but if I went to like a hotel, I'd be like, I don't want to take this much work on this. This sounds awful. Did they make it just like an amazing experience? So you're like, man, we want to do this for other people, or what kind of was like the meat to that?
Yeah.
Well,
You want to go?
Well, for me at that time, and Josh is obviously different minded than me. It wasn't even a thought in my mind to do that in Lincoln. I mean, we have dreams like, oh, it would be so fun to own a vacation home, short-term rental somewhere, that we can visit with our family. But for me, that wasn't in my mind from that trip.
Yeah.
What about you?
So I'd say that we've grown to really enjoy creating experiences and memories, and traveling does that.
Yeah.
And real estate doesn't do that. But if you can marry those two together, I mean, you have Airbnb essentially. And that's two things that I'm really passionate about in my life is travel and real estate. And so a long time ago, someone asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And I said an international real estate investor. Because I love travel and I love real estate. So like, if I could do that, it'd be awesome. I can travel and see real estate. So that kind of always has been in the back of my brain. And when we went to Panama, I was like, oh, maybe we could do this in Lincoln, create an experience for people that come to Lincoln. And I did it more of a proof of concept to see if the model works. Obviously, I know Airbnb works and it's successful, but I had to prove it to myself.
Yeah.
Because the idea is that we will be buying, a short-term rental overseas somewhere and wherever that may be. I don't know that location yet, but so that was kind of doing all this is just a proof of concept right now for us. I would say maybe it's for me and not Amera, but this is me going
concept
off.
with a little bit of cash flow in.
Yeah. So, so that's kind of where that inspiration came from for me.
What do you think with like Airbnb, like you said, you like the hosting side of it. Like, what do you think like made, I guess, what makes you excited about having hosting? Because like I understand like you like the experience of it, but like I think of hosting and like, okay, now I'm like messaging all these people and it's like
Right.
I gotta keep a calendar straight, and you know, like what about that is appealing?
Yeah, so I think aside from creating experience, because that's really important to me too, that's probably the biggest thing, is just knowing like when we go places that the experiences that we create, and just being able to provide that to somebody is also really rewarding. But like logistically speaking, me being able to host from home, even if it's a quick like message on my phone, allows me to be present in like the everyday life of our kids. So like that's very appealing, aside from like the creating experiences for everybody. It's convenient for my own life too, you know, because you know it does generate income, and I would stay home regardless, but it's just adding a little extra income to our family. So that's the biggest part that's appealing to me.
Yeah, that's cool.
As far as a host goes.
Yeah, that's cool. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I think it's fun just to be able to like highlight Lincoln as a cool place to actually come and visit and hang out.
And what's also really rewarding, I think, is when people, you know, well, we have an Instagram page and people, you know, we just had a photo shoot over there where they had photographer booked it out for a day and had like 3 mini sessions or 4 mini sessions or something, and we got to see those photos, and it was really cool to think like these people are gonna have these photos forever, and it's in a space that we've created for them. And I think that's why she does what she does, you know what I mean? Because it's not fun doing the messaging and having the cleaning lady coordinated, and you know, whatever, something happens, they get locked out or whatever, you know, those aren't fun. But the rewarding things are so rewarding that I think it just doesn't bother her to do them.
Kind of makes it disappear.
Yeah, and we get like a little guest book in there, so it's really cool to see where these people came from, why they've come, like birthdays, graduations, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's neat to see, you know, where people come and why. It's really interesting to me.
Yeah, I love hearing the whys from people. I mean, there's a huge variety of whys, and some are good and some are sad, but just knowing that we play just the littlest bit of role in their experience here is rewarding.
Yeah, I would totally agree. I'd be remiss if I didn't ask, like, what's the worst Airbnb experience you've had?
The remote lady. Oh my God. So we travel frequently, and every time we go somewhere, I just like have to brace myself because crap is going to hit the fan every time we go somewhere. And we were
like, you travel and somebody's staying.
Yeah. And so that, you know, and it's another rewarding, I suppose, at this point in time, thing is like, I can work remotely.
Yeah.
But then I do work remotely, so that kind of sucks too. But we had landed in Denver, and this lady was adamant about finding the remote. And why like this is
like the TV remote?
The TV remote. And why this is so important is because this is when these houses first opened. So I was still like very hands-on, buying little stuff like, and this incident, I forgot coasters. So I was like, oh crap, before we leave, I'm going to go bring down some coasters there because I didn't want the coffee table to get ruined. So I bring down coasters, I set them down, and I'm like, the TV remote looks stupid there. Let me put it on the couch. So this is important, okay? I put it on the couch. So this lady is incessantly asking about the remote. Like, I'm like, what? Why does she care so much about this remote? And so I'm like, well, I remember putting it on the arm couch. It's not there. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do for you. Send someone over to find it. And I was like, are you kidding me? And like, this is like in the midst of our travels, you know, like Wi-Fi is not good where I'm at. So I can't communicate effectively anyways. Not that I really wanted to at this point in time, but so we send somebody over there. Still can't find it, just like I knew we wouldn't. I don't know why she thought someone else could find the remote before we could. Well, anyways, later our cleaning lady finds this remote wrapped up in a towel in a drawer, like shoved to the back. So I don't know why this lady did that, but that was by far like the most annoying thing that has ever happened with Airbnb.
That's so weird.
Wait, so you think she purposely wrapped it up in a towel and put it in a drawer?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else would have happened.
Like, did she just want to make sure you're like a real person?
I don't know. I don't know what. It was really weird. I had the weirdest things like crossing my mind.
Reach
like,
out and ask.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah, I have no idea.
For that exact reason, for the why.
I was talking to a girlfriend and she was thinking that maybe the lady was trying to get like a discount or a refund or something. And at first that didn't cross my mind, but I was like, maybe? I don't know. But it was horrible. And I don't know if it would have been as bad if we were in Lincoln, but the fact that we were like trying to enjoy ourselves on vacation made it even worse. So
me and my buddy went on a snowboarding trip one time. And we stayed at one of the house that had like 3 or 4 roommates. And we woke up the next day, and one of his socks was missing, and one of my gloves was missing. And we were like, "What the heck is going on?" And then we like asked the people that we were staying with, and they had a roommate that I guess would just randomly steal like one sock. Or,
that's weird.
One like glove,
like that's an
and
actual
then
problem.
she wouldn't like return it, but she just would like steal it. And so she was like, "Yeah, she just does that." And we're like,
"But why? Like,
like,
you always
okay,
know
like,
why?
what's
What's going on?"
I mean, that's different than hiding a remote, but it was just like,
but still, you're like, why?
Very mysterious.
Just such a strange habit.
What do you think has been your least favorite or most interesting guest?
Like, if you just showed up and you're like, for real?
Oh, I mean, we've had the party before. I mean, that's not fun.
Couple.
Yeah. I don't know. See, I'm not on that side of it as much because I don't see the properties after guests, and I don't handle messaging or communications with guests. So I'm kind of out of the loop. I just go fix stuff if it's broken.
Yeah.
But
you do hear me complain about it.
Yeah, I hear about things, but yeah. Nothing.
What's the weirdest thing you've had to fix after somebody
Oh,
stays?
dude.
Like, why did that?
A light switch.
Yeah.
Like someone destroyed a light switch. Like you literally would have had to taken a hammer to it
or something.
What?
because it was shattered. Like you can't just shatter it by touching it with your fingers. Like you couldn't even punch it and shatter it this hard. It was just annihilated. It was insane.
Weird.
I was like, how does that happen? Like, and this is a small bathroom, so it's not like there's a lot of room to like move and maneuver to like
you get a full-on swing going for your hammer
to like even ram your elbow into it. I don't know. It was just weird. I was like, how does that even happen?
Maybe their bag or something
the
caught
ceramic tiles underneath it were cracked.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, maybe.
Falling over
Because there's rug there now, so I don't see it on the daily. But
bad.
yeah,
That's crazy.
that was weird.
That's so weird. Yeah.
It was weird. I was like, how do you break a light switch? I mean, I understand sticky floors from alcohol. Like I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, but that same party, they had, confetti? Is that what it is?
Oh, yes.
Glitter?
Confetti and glitter.
Yeah, that's the word.
Dude, there was.
I hate
They're
glitter.
the reason why we have that rule
passionately
now.
hateful
There's a
about
million tiny little stars, like super small, and like to this day, I'm still seeing them. And this has probably been a year ago.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing these little stars everywhere. They keep appearing, and it's like gonna haunt me, I think.
And
But-
it's been incessantly cleaned for the last year or two.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you know, like at least twice a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah,
Makes me
but
laugh.
eh.
Do we have some questions on stuff? Let's kind of transition, I guess, into like what's Lincoln like proposing, I guess, for Airbnb stuff.
Yeah, so they are trying to. So since short-term rentals is a new thing, they don't have any rules or regulations really governing it, how it works, because they're trying to say, well, it's not quite a hotel, but it's not quite like a residential home occupation thing. So like, what is it? And we need to make some rules behind it. So they're proposing a few different things, some different tax rules and regulations, maybe more leaning towards like what a hotel might have to pay. And they're also trying to pass something for it being like a or owner occupied property.
Oh, okay.
So that's the big thing that's really going to affect
Yeah.
us and you, I guess.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do with that. And gosh, I can't think of the other. Oh, and they want to maybe set up like a licensing / database of the property owners or managers running these operations so they can kind of oversee it a little bit better. So they don't really know how that's going to look yet, but
Yeah. Did they say when they're trying to like have a decision by?
they said they're going to try to push this through as fast as possible. So I'm actually meeting with them next week to discuss there's a handful of us to discuss and put together a proposed plan to present to the city council. So we'll see how that goes and see if we can have a say then.
What do you think? Like, okay, you're a host, so obviously you're gonna have a positive view on it. But what do you think like the positive and the negatives are of actually having Airbnb or a short-term rentals in Lincoln?
Yeah, babe, what do you think the positives are for these?
So I think a huge positive is, like we said before, creating just a different type of experience. Not everyone loves the hotel atmosphere, varying from older people who just want, a cozier environment to a family who wants their little kid to be able to run around, in a bigger space in a hotel. So I think it appeals to a wider crowd. It also appeals to, people who travel with their pets and, not necessarily, and hotels don't always necessarily let the pets come to, and I just think that, a negative could be, Josh and I were discussing, like, would we rather have a constant neighbor that we could know and build a relationship with, or would we, rather get to know new people all the time? And that's something that, as hosts, we haven't been able to determine ourselves. There's positives and negatives to both of those things. We love our neighbors. They actually just moved in, and it's been really nice to be able to build a relationship with them that I know will be long lasting. However, like, I might enjoy meeting new people, frequently. And so that's just something we haven't decided for ourselves. Some people may not love the in and out and not being able to build, a long lasting relationship with their neighbor. So that's the main thing. I mean, other than the obvious occasional house party here and there, but those are very few and far between. So I don't know. What do you think?
I would say the same thing exactly. I think those are kind of our big pros and cons that I would say.
Yeah, I think like the huge positive is like people want a space that they can like relax in and be with their family in. Like,
yeah,
it's really hard to do that in a hotel room.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, they're a different customer. So like everybody makes the assumption that like Airbnb is taking away from the hotel. It's like not necessarily. Yeah. Because those people aren't gonna necessarily want to even stay in a hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that vacation is way more appealing because they can get a house and have 10 people in it rather than get 10 different hotel rooms or 5 different hotel rooms.
Yeah,
and everybody's
for sure.
trying to find a conference room to hang out in.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a different client.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's my.
Yeah, I think it definitely serves a different need for different people in different situations. So.
And just having that option, if someone wants to stay in a hotel, that's great, and there's plenty of options. But like having the option there is, in my opinion, better safe than sorry, than not having the option of an Airbnb, because then you kind of could cut out potential travelers to Lincoln.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What do we got for questions here, Andy?
So I've got one that's going to say, how do you know how to price your Airbnb?
So, I mean, this is something that we've definitely had to learn trial by error for the most part. There is, I guess I'll just start with the easy thing. There is something on Airbnb that's a smart pricer. So it'll take data from the area, time of year, day of week, the events going on in the area, and it'll give you a suggested price. And typically those are price to sell, price to book, whatever you may call it. So usually those are really good. And we sit close to that in the winter months when it's slower. Also, we kind of take into consideration our proximity to the Haymarket, or, the happenings in Lincoln. So our ones that are closer will typically be priced higher for their convenience. They are walking distance to the rail yard and the Haymarket and stuff. So we usually price those a little higher than our other one, and especially around event times. But yeah, we also price based on how many people can sleep there. So.
And how many properties do you guys have right now?
We have
For Airbnbs,
3 currently,
Okay.
working on a 4th. So.
And I'll add to the pricing thing.
Yeah. Go ahead.
What we've learned is cheaper is not always better.
Yeah,
We've dropped our prices dramatically just to it's extra $50. That's cool. Let's just do it. Why not? But we've done that too many times and we've gotten burned. And then it's like, we have
I wouldn't
more.
say we've done it too many times.
Well,
I'd say we've done it a few times, and every time we're like, why did we do that again?
That's too many,
Yeah,
I think.
exactly.
No, only a few times. And every time we do it seems to get burned. Even if it's just like a weekday, it's like, who parties on a Tuesday night? Don't you guys have to get up to work? But whatever, not my business. But so we definitely we don't go too low just to get a booking. We kind of try to maintain a standard, and we miss out on a lot of bookings because of it. I know we do. And that's okay with us because we've learned our lesson.
Keep the integrity of our guest, and I also think that that's good for the neighborhood too, because if it's priced higher, then chances are, not always, but chances are you'll get a guest who respects your neighborhood, respects your property. And so we try and keep them priced affordable, but also keeping a higher standard.
That's totally fair.
Yeah.
We did the smart pricing to begin with, just kind of let's just see if we can get any bookings at all.
Yeah.
And then I asked you about it. I was like, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's I don't really use it. We'll probably add a little bit to it. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense, because we had 2 in a row that were just
horrible. Because
they're
smart pricing, like I said, is definitely priced lower than I would like. Price to book. You will get a booking if you price it at this. We've kind of come up with a set standard for each time of year for one, and time of week. So we typically stick to that. Booking, pricing.
And then there's just a few questions about the city on Airbnbs and such. Just I don't know if you wanted to add to that.
I think we kind of answered that pretty good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then just EJ wanting a shout out.
Shout out EJ.
EJ, officially have me on your team. At EJ the Maker. I don't know who you are.
There you go. Follow him, everybody.
Yeah, I respect
Free
him.
plug.
And then, shoot, I thought I had a question, but I think I lost it. Oh, what are you guys moving forward? Whether the future of the city on with Airbnbs and stuff, what are you guys wanting to do moving on, going forward?
Yeah.
So obviously I hope that we can continue our Airbnb business. Like I said, it gives me something to do from home. It allows us to generate some extra income, and those houses I'm pretty attached to, because like I said, Josh gave me full creative reign, so they're my babies, and so I would be sad to sell them. And also long term, we hope someday that those houses will be paid off and then our kids will have their pick, so I have quite an emotional attachment to them, So for those reasons, I hope that we are able to. However, you know, if some reason we're not, you know, we can sell them and we'll find something to do to put our energy and our passion into.
So you think if let's say Lincoln completely put a cap on it and it doesn't make it worth it anymore, you think you'd sell them rather than long-term rent them?
I mean, we definitely have to consider our numbers and stuff. I don't want to, but if we had to, then we have to. You know?
It's really hard. We haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet because they don't know what the rules are going to be. Because if we can do it for like month-to-month booking, then maybe we go corporate housing. You know, maybe we can go do something like that. I'm not trying to play loopholes though. I'm not interested in doing that. I mean, we could if we really want to somehow, but
it just sounds messy and strenuous.
Messy and confusing and not fun. So I'm not trying to do any of that. But Amera has a little thing, she's a little baby she's making in her head of a project she wants to tackle. Share your event space idea.
Well, it's just an idea in the making right now. I mean, I don't know if they would be used in those spaces or not. That actually idea just came to me yesterday that maybe those spaces could be used. But I someday want to find an event space and use that for showers or birthday parties or, you know, whatever the case may be. So that's very brief. My goal for this year is just to explore that idea. And it would be something else for me to put my creative energy into. So
so I've had my creative. Well, I'm building a container house, and so that's kind of my little baby project.
Where's that at?
Right
it's at 8th and H, south of the Haymarket, like 6 blocks.
I just drove by it today.
Did you?
Yep.
There's one at 28th and Vine. That is not mine.
It's the really small on the corner lot.
Yep.
The actual containers.
So since I have my little pet project, Amera kind of has this idea, so we're going to see if we can bring hers to fruition and see if we can make something happen with that.
I have a lot of random little ideas.
This ties into our like overall like theme of our not our relationship, but just like who we are as people. Like we just really like creating experiences for people, and this event space will allow her to do it on a different level or different platform than just Airbnb. So she's really good at hosting parties. I mean, we have so much
more hands-on with it too.
So you know, something I really love to do and I've loved for as long as I could remember is like having parties for people, making them feel special, creating memories for them in that aspect. So but one of the problems we always face is where are we gonna have this party at, you know, that, and so it's something that we'll look into this year and explore, and if we can find something that makes sense, then we will, and if not, I have a million other little ideas that we can
we're gonna make something happen, that's for sure.
We'll make something happen.
That's cool.
So
Sweet. Do you have anything more?
No, I think that's it, guys. I appreciate you coming on here and sharing. And
you want to plug your Instagrams and your
I mean
properties.
Properties.
Pretty much, if you just search Josh Nix or Amera Nix anywhere on social, Facebook, Instagram, you could find us. So and then if you want to dig a little deeper, you can find our Haymarket Hideaways. That's 2 of our Airbnbs. Then Little Gray Getaway is another Airbnb. That's all on our socials and stuff. So just search our names.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you for coming on and talking about what you're passionate about.
We do have to ask the one question we ask every guest.
Oh yeah, but we've kind of blown that recently. Yeah. You want to ask a question?
We'll ask it. What's some time that you can think of that where you never laughed harder? Like, where it was like something you can point to where you're like, oh my gosh, I could not stop laughing because
well, I think we laugh a lot, but our most recent thing that like leaves me laughing whenever I'm just like sitting by myself.
I don't know where you're going with this one.
You know?
No, I'm like, what's
No, not being nervous. We were just on vacation in Belize, and you're the one who told us not to pay the toll.
Yes.
Oh my god! This is real funny how this circle completes. So
Stefan's gonna get
let me face you.
Yes.
So I was talking to a friend on Instagram, and he was giving us some tips.
At Stephen Carlson.
Yes.
At Stephen Carlson. And he said, do not pay the toll guy. He just charges tourists. So we're our first day in Belize, so we're just cruising in our golf cart, okay? We cross this bridge, and this guy like walks out in front of our car, and he hands us or asks us for our ticket, and we're like, nope, Stefan told us we don't have to pay. And so Josh just goes, no, thank you, and just keeps driving, okay? And
what you do.
so, yeah, okay. Well, that's not true anymore, because
Oh, really?
it's a real thing. We had to go to town hall in Belize, and
I had to find the answer because I was like, that guy looked pretty serious
he
and
was
legit.
And
But Stefan said no, so I'm like, gosh, I don't want to drive by this guy every day and not know what the
every
hell's
day
going on.
because he was harassing us, and Josh was just like, no, thank you, and just keeps driving. So that's like a little inside joke that we have now, because I was just like, I guess we'll just keep driving.
That's so
But
funny.
yeah, we ended up in town hall in Belize, finding out that you do in fact have to pay the toll bridge now.
Really?
So
Yeah.
if you ever go back,
That's crazy.
You can buy a monthly pass for $75. Belize.
$75.
Belize dollars, right? There's the US.
I don't know.
I think it's 75 Belize, yeah. Because
He's
then
stepped
it's
up
like,
in the world.
That's
He's official
crazy.
now. You can't just
He's
walk
official.
over.
Yeah.
I bet the Belizean government was just like,
Yeah, that's a good
this
idea.
guy's making a bunch of money. We should
Yeah.
actually make it a thing, because he literally had, when we were there, because we stayed in an Airbnb there.
Yeah.
And we were like, we paid this guy on the toll. He looked sketchy. He was sitting on like a
He
folding chair, just
Still
over
looks
there.
sketchy, but now he has
well, there's
a
like,
uniform.
there's two
so-
of them.
Yeah, so there's
Two different guys. One guy was super chill and was like, yeah, just keep going, whatever. But then
Yeah,
this
but
one guy,
it's-
oh
it's,
man.
He was,
Yeah,
he was a stickler.
Yeah.
well,
That's
probably
funny.
because the first day Josh just decided, no, thank you. He didn't want to
I just
pay.
floored the golf cart and I was like, let's go.
So, anyways,
Well, from traveling in third world countries, that
Yeah,
like people are
you-
always trying to
yeah,
get
well,
you
it
Hustle you.
sounded like a situation that would probably be real, but he left us questioning ourselves, and
Yeah, so
so
That's
Josh's
so
reaction to that has me laughing like just in the middle of
Yeah,
yeah,
nowhere
that's an
now.
inside joke that we
Yeah.
have. So yeah, that's a
great.
good one.
Yeah, I literally, I asked the host. I was like, I felt weird paying this guy. Should he pay him? He's like, no, like, don't pay him because it's not real.
So is he a local, or is he
He lives there.
lives there?
He
Okay.
he
From-
built like it's like an 8-plex, like right on the beach.
Yeah.
And then he Airbnbs out, like,
Oh my
Is
god.
his
name
Is
Shane?
his name Shane?
maybe he's an older guy.
Oh,
Maybe
Jeff?
not then.
Maybe
Jeff Bella?
he's right next to the dive bar. I don't know if it's that guy.
Oh, because
okay.
he was.
So
Yeah.
They
Well,
built south.
Oh,
we
did
lived.
they?
We were north.
Okay.
yeah, but he was like,
So-
yeah, don't
Yeah.
pay it. I was
Okay.
like, all right.
Well, I
So-
do think that if you live there, if you're a local, that you don't have to pay it.
Okay. I wonder if we got the local deal or something.
Local
So you didn't
pass,
have to
let's
pay it the rest
go.
of
Yeah.
the
We
time.
didn't pay it the whole time.
Well, we did, and there was no way around it either. He tried to. So when we finally did get our ticket, he tried to take it because we owed him, and we're like, no, we bought a week pass. So
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
Well, I apologize.
Yeah, no big deal.
That's really good though.
That's
it was nice to
amazing.
confront you face to face about
That's
that. Come to
Yeah.
think of
You're the
it.
man who sent
Yes.
us to town hall in Belize.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thanks for
Cool.
coming on the podcast still,
Yes,
even
thank
though
you.
Yeah.
Steph put you guys through hell.
You know,
Yeah.
I may have not agreed to that had I remembered at the time.
Yeah. Well, thank you
Yes.
guys
Hey,
for
but
having
now
us.
now you have a story.
Yeah, now I
Yeah.
laugh all the time about it. So thanks
and that is
again.
another memory we have.
So-
Thanks to you.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Yow.